Greetings to all. I'm glad and honored to be among you, even though my presentation is taking place in a virtual way. First of all, let me say thank you for my dear colleague, Dr. Ghada Khayyat, who has worked hard to prepare this conference as she does each and every year. But all the efforts are worth because every year this conference gives a lot of benefits for all the scientific world. Thank you for preparing that hard, Dr. Ghada. My presentation is about teaching with digital humanities in the times of COVID-19. Teaching with digital humanities allowed me to prepare an outline that goes as follows. What is digital technology and how it does influence the teaching and learning world? The pandemic, what did it enforce and reinforce, especially concerning the practices in teaching and learning? Digital humanities, and some examples for schools and for universities, and maybe we'll be inspired through the suggestions to start our own digital projects, digital humanities project, knowing that you are here in this conference from many different countries and different majors. Thus, we are the suitable ground for a new digital humanities project. Why not? I was asked to share my presentation in English. Yet, I'll be using some French words, especially that I have selected few examples from the Francophone world, which is a dear word to me. The digital technology, the use of technology in teaching and learning practices, empowered both educators and students. From the point of view of educators, it empowered them to personalize learning. And this way, we will teach in a different way, and we will give each and every student whatever is needed so that to have a very good quality of teaching and to help our students attain their goals after attaining the objectives of the course. When it comes to the student's point of view, and whenever we use technology in our teaching and learning, if we do use it in a correct way, and we do not use it just for the sake of technology, but if it is embedded to serve the objective of the course, this way we will be empowering our students with the 21st century skills and competencies. And this way will allow them to find a job in an easier way and to perform in a better way. Digital technology opened also the ground for blended learning classes and distant learning classes, and also to integrate technology in the face-to-face mode too. Why not? But definitely you should always remember that it should serve the goal of the objectives of each lesson and of the whole course. The digital technology in teaching and learning was imposed especially during the pandemic. Why? Because we slept in a day in each and every country of this world using the face-to-face mode. And we woke up on the other day receiving an email from our university or school telling us that let's try to go online and to teach distantly because we're not allowed to go face-to-face because of the pandemic. Some among us were really prepared for that, some others were not. And this is how things became hard for the students and for the teachers at the same time. However, we should never forget the new perspectives that were imposed because of the crisis. So the pandemic has enforced, especially after a few weeks of teaching, when the teachers discovered that there's no way to take the content of the course we use in the face-to-face mode and give it online. This was not efficient, this was not clear, this was boring. Thus, those teachers started to search for a solution. Even the institutions started to search for solutions. And they discovered the instructional design. And those among us who were not very convinced with the instructional design, this pandemic enforced them to go back to the instructional design. What do I mean by instructional design? We'll explain little by little this concept. Then, the pandemic enforced also the fact that all course elements should be constructively aligned with the course objective. And again, we should say that the technology by itself is not the goal, it is the means, it's the medium that allows us to reach the goal that is the objectives of the course. And then again, it enforces to open up to information on a global scale. Why on a global scale and why the pandemic forced us for that, I'll go into detail. First, the instructional design, that is also known in French by ingénierie pédagogique. Technically, when we talk about instructional design, we mean that we should take our content, our course, and restructure it. We should design it in a way asking ourselves about Bloom taxonomy to see whether we are searching to give our students something to remember or something to analyze or something to evaluate and create something new out of it. So we should question ourselves concerning each lesson alone, where are we according to the Bloom taxonomy. And again, we should, once designing, ask ourselves based on a methodology that is confirmed from the scientific point of view. And here I selected the ADI methodology. That is, to analyze what? The needs of our students and of the learners, and analyze also what we need them to know and to get, and where do we want them to reach until the analysis, the application, or to create something new. Then to design our course accordingly and to evaluate whether or not our design responds to the analysis that was done. Again, to develop what was designed, to make it real, to make something functional. For example, to create an exercise or to design the whole lesson within it. We have the theory, the exercise, and the evaluation, etc. And evaluate whether the development responds to the design and the analysis, then to implement it and to use it with our learners. And evaluate again and again. And start back again from the beginning to make it better and even better. This instructional design is the key issue for our success in distant learning. Then, designing each lecture alone and the whole course alone without thinking how constructively we align all the objectives of the course is not a good thing. Even though some are still at a very slow pace concerning the constructively aligned objectives, yet we are now, after having experienced for months the distant learning, we are now at a stage where we have to make benefit of this experience and to rethink how to align all the objectives of the course in order to reach a good distant learning course. Then we have the global scale. And when we say global scale and big information, we think of digital humanities. The pandemic was the reason behind understanding totally and completely well that digital humanities and understanding how important it is to know that living in one globe, all of us, we do share a lot of common things, and whatever blocks part of the people here will block them sooner or later there. And thus, digital humanities gives all of its meaning during the pandemic. I'll go into details in a while. So, the digital humanities is an academic field which allows us to visualize techniques across subjects within humanities. Humanities problems, humanitarian problems, and literature about the humanities and society are not tangible. But thanks to digital humanities, you will be able to visualize those in a clear way, and not for a small scale, on a very large scale, that is on the global scale. Digital humanities involves investigation, analysis, synthesis, and presentation of information in a digital form. So it's a crossword, it's a combination between humanities and the digital world. Digital humanities works and extended across institutional type and institutional space. So me on my own, I cannot do a digital humanities project. We have to be many persons from different institutions and different backgrounds and different places. Digital humanities focuses on collaboration between faculties and students. No more one standalone person doing everything. No more faculty members working on their own or students working on their own. And this conference here, it combines the results of the researches of students and faculty. It's a very good example for starting collaboration between faculty members and the students. The information on a global scale, it means generating and manipulating masses of information, then making these connections between technologies and humanities. This will lead to a large-scale project, which is fascinating, and it needs the development of critical perspectives, because else we could be able to deliver anything and everything. This is not the goal. We need a critical perspective, and here again we go to one of the goals of the millennium skills we need. We need to develop always our critical thinking and to have a critical perspective. So when we say digital humanities, which we say multi-authored work, collaborations, different disciplinaries and different majors, we build on the existing. We do not start from zero. We build on the existing. We dare to experiment something new, and we engage both users and peers. So it's a big group working on this to have a huge result. One example from the COVID-19 situation that allowed the whole world to understand what digital humanities is the following map. The map was prepared by Johns Hopkins University tracking COVID-19, tracking it in real time via the interactive dashboard that we'll see now with data available for download. We are also modeling the spread of the virus, we, Johns Hopkins University, and the blog is available to discuss the study. So we're not interested with the blog. What we are interested in is the Digital Humanities project, that is that huge interactive dashboard that allows us to understand how things are moving. And each one of us, according to our need and goal, we can pick up and take that data required. So if I'm interested in the development of the pandemic in one region, for example, in Africa, I can spot it here. And if I'm interested in knowing the global death, I can know it from this table. And if I want to go into details concerning my country, that is Lebanon, I can also search into tiny little details. Those are the main areas that could be easily seen. We know that today in the world we are 195 countries. And bottom down with the yellow circle, we have 189 countries affected by the COVID, which is 6 countries are still without COVID. 6 very little countries. On top left, we have the total number of persons who got COVID positive, approaching 40 million, and I got those details on October 22, which is 2 days ago. Then we have the global death exceeding 1 million and the recovered. So all of this information can be also visualized in details and downloaded, and you have the daily cases bottom right with a red circle giving the daily cases day per day in each region and in each country. Now that you are affected, unfortunately, the whole globe is affected with this pandemic, and because we do have nowadays the Digital Humanities project, this university came up with this dashboard. This dashboard is updated on daily basis, and it became a reference for many countries, for many journals, for many newspapers, because it is based on a scientific research from a university. Now, knowing that and understanding this whole project allows us to configure and to think of other projects related to each of our fields. I'll give other examples. Now we'll have an example from the Bibliothèque Nationale de France. comment créer un livre numérique au BNF. So the National French Library is allowing us to create a digital book and a huge digital humanities project. And creating that book could be a very important activity that we can use in our classes for all the classes, right from the beginning till the end of the school years. This is les Humanités numériques, which is digital humanities, and this is the page that will introduce us through the website of Gallica, which is the digital library of la Bibliothèque nationale de France, the digital library of the BNF. How to create a digital book and what are the advantages? The students here, if they desire to enrich the text of literature by taking a variety of paths, the Gallica Digital Library allows the students to pick a book from the classics, a very well-known books. It could be a book for children, for toddlers, for children, and for those in the last years of their schools in college. So they pick up the book, they read it. They can rewrite part of it, add music, add pictures, add comments, change the story, add videos, add hyperlinks. And then they will, after editing the book, the classical book, they will publish. So not only they've read the book, they change the book and they publish their own version of the book. This is encouraging students, this is encouraging the youth to read, to write, to publish, and to go into this magnificent world of literature. They can explore, they can visualize, they can publish, they can produce. So make students want to write and read, because in order to write within a book, we need to read the book first, to create their own personalized digital edition of these classics, to add images and whatever they want. It's accessible for free online, and one of the most important digital libraries is available online, and here we're talking about Gallica, that is the digital library of the Bibliothèque nationale de France. Knowing that we do have more than 7 million documents in free access, 7 million. So how important it is, instead of telling to our students to write a story about on a paper, we can give them a way, a very high way for creativity, allowing them to add to that story, to change the story, to put videos, music, hyperlinks, to change the ending, to modify the beginning of the story, and to let them not only edit but also publish their own story online based on 7 million free accessible documents. This is huge, and this is really something very valuable for all of us teachers on all levels. Again, this is the Gallica Studio, where we will be able to change everything we want and to share it. And also, we have a toolbox that will allow us to pick from it in order to put in our new story. Again, we do have a lab, and here you can see that we are able to do a little bit of coding in that lab to change whatever is needed to be changed according to our personalized project. We can also suggest a project. So why don't we suggest a project that will combine all of our ideas, maybe will be supported by the Gallica Studio too. For example, take a story from our world and put it there and put it in different language and suggest that they will help us. They told us, suggest the project, and here we go, our lab is open for everybody. So reading, writing, construct a project. We're learning in a different way. We're teaching in a different way. We're using digital humanities project to teach in a different way, and first and foremost, to motivate the students, the learners. Could it be interesting and important to have similar projects for the Arabic literature? Why not? In the very prestigious Alexandria Library. Why not in each and every one of our libraries and the universities to create something new? But remember, we have to collaborate with others, not to work solo. Illustration from the European Association for Digital Humanities. Here we do have hundreds of projects, very interesting projects. I won't be able to expose all of them definitely. This is why I put all the references so that you'll be able to go back and see them. We have Daliate, which is an Erasmus Plus project covered by 8 different countries, and this has two objectives: sharing and reusing through a digital humanities project, aiming at higher education across spectrum of disciplines. Remember, we said when we talk about digital humanities, you should have different background and different disciplines. It's an open source, multilingual, community-driven platform for higher education, quality teaching and training materials that combines art and humanities. Art and humanities. If you're interested in the intersection of those two, go to that website. You can learn, you can teach in an asynchronous way. We have here an ongoing project done in Italy, and this ongoing project, we have again the website for it. It's a digital humanities project that works for the classical philosophy and Italian studies. So each and every one of us can do that for the classical philosophy of our countries and the studies we've had here. Imagine on one single platform, this is an ongoing project, okay? So they're still developing it. The first one of art and philosophy, if you go there, you find thousands of courses about art and literature, all combined together in minimum of 8 different languages. So in this project, Architettura della Coscienza, Architecture of Knowledge, l'architecture du savoir, in Italy, it combines 800,000 Italian cultural entities, artists, places, institutions, and techniques. We won't be able to do that if we collaborate all together between universities and the Ministry of Culture in our countries, and all the implications of what we have in our country in other different countries through the embassies, what was translated in other languages, what was adapted. For example, we had a very known writer who wrote a book, and then it was translated in another language and transformed into a song in one of those countries in the world. Prepare all those implications in one single map, like we have seen, for example, for the COVID. Instead of doing something for pandemic, let's do it for culture. For example, what about creating a digital humanities project about ancient Egypt, literature, arts, pyramids, Book of Death, Egyptian antiquities around the world? This is a huge digital humanities project, and definitely you will find many countries interested, because we do have the antiquities of Egypt are spread all over the world. They constructed full museums all over the world. So why don't we do that? There are a lot of funds for the digital humanities project nowadays. We have to learn to collaborate first, and from there we can have as many projects as we have. For instance, the Book of the Dead project was realized as a digital humanities project in the European Association for Digital Humanities in Germany. So this project is done. It created already a lot of ideas about the illustrations, the text. They were all made visible in a digital humanities project that could be checked if you use this link. Suggestion. Since we want to teach and we are forced by the pandemic to teach in a different way, why don't we change our researches through this new methods of teaching to have and to create researches little by little to construct a full digital humanities project, to rewrite books from the Arabic classics, for example, or project about the Egyptian culture, or all the songs and plays of Fairuz, maybe MOOCs, development and management in the Median region. And here I'm inspired what will be given tomorrow in your program. For example, I've been inspired from Hanan Khidr from Alexandria University. She will be presented tomorrow her project about sports in Egypt. This project could become sports in Egypt, or from Egypt to the whole world, everything related to sport. This could be converted in a digital humanities map. And if we prepare that digital humanities map and we click on each country, we'll have, let's say, a drop-down menu giving us who are the players who played in this country, what type of sport they did, what are the scores they had, and if we move to another country, who are the Egyptian players who succeeded in sport, and then we go back to Egypt and we have all the details. We will teach in a different way. And we engage computer science students, we engage students from the sport area to give us all the names, we engage students from the geography field to give us all the maps and whatever is needed, and to help us refine this. And this way, we do interesting and important researches, we change the way of teaching and learning, and we create a new info instead of memorizing and giving back what was known by people before us. I hope you have enjoyed my presentation, and I hope it was an inspiration for all of us to start teach in another way. Thank you.